and we've been talking about this, that people need to understand that there is a massive attack on every black institution.
That's right.
And look, I love to dance, you love to sing, but a lot of our folk are so fixated with boots on the ground, not realizing they trying to put boots on our necks.
You know, I think this is a moment for us to really realize, I mean, if people really just plug in, everything is actually attacking our communities right now. If you look at just the headlines in the last week, around 300,000 women, black women, losing their jobs, their federal jobs. Why is that important, right? And when you're looking at our unemployment rate being double what the national rate, why is that important?
It's approaching pandemic levels.
Pandemic levels. And what's interesting is black women are like the canary in the coal mine, that ultimately it is indicative that there's a major problem going on in the labor market. Black women actually participate in the labor market higher than any other women. So when you're looking at what's going on with black women, that is telling us what's happening, going to happen, and is happening already in our communities. And then how are we going to respond to that? So the bottom line is what we're seeing happen. And then we got to think about it. He went D.C. Like, let's think about who's in D.C. Let's think about the mayor and leadership of Chicago.
First, L.A.,
let's look at
which
LA.
was targeting Karen Bass.
That's right.
Then D.C., Muriel Bowser. Now Chicago, Brandon Johnson.
That's right.
And it's just going on a list of, okay, give me a black mayor. Let's see who I can go hit.
That's right. And so we got to really realize what this moment is. We can't be so disconnected to not understand that not only are the policy under attack, but our bodies, our physical health, we're under attack. When you look at this bill and how these cuts in Medicaid are going to impact us, right? When you look at how this attack on these cities, there's a reason why black elected officials, right? These cities that are led by black, part of it is pushing the boundaries to see how far I can go. And I also want to think around, you know, as we're talking about these elections, you know, people, I talk to folks, Roland, and I was like, well, why? Well, elections don't matter. Elections always matter.
And see, that
elections matter.
Here's what kills me, and I say this all the time. You are not going to find white folks saying, hey, y'all, that vote thing don't do nothing for us. They ain't saying that.
No.
Now, it's some white folks who don't vote, but it's amazing how a lot of us are listening to people who claim to be doctors and activists or in who concern about the community, who are literally telling us that stuff don't matter, ain't nothing gonna change.
That's right. And the truth of the matter is it's sensationalized. And that's just not true. Every single aspect of our lives is impacted by public policy.
Right.
So the truth of the matter is there's nothing from how much money you make to where you live, where you can get a mortgage. All of those things are set by public policy. And who are elected officials, they're policymakers. Now, let me say this. I understand people's frustration.
Right.
When we're out in the communities, yes, we are frustrated because we know that there's more that we deserve that we should be getting.
Right. And you want to see the results of your votes.
But we also need to understand that sometimes we also have to use this as a harm reduction strategy, that when people are coming for your community, you have to use every single tool available to stop them. You also, when people, you can't let folks attack your community and there's no consequences. And voting in itself is not enough, but it is certainly a consequence. I think what we need to also think about is this next year's election is going to be critical, not just for the place of, okay, who gonna get in office. That's important, but it has to be a vote of resistance. We have to get out in massive numbers and let folks know, everybody, that we're coming for you. If you come for us, we're using every single tool available to us to push back and to hold folks accountable. We are willing to do anything to protect me and mine.
The marker that I've been using, the target goal I've been using is 70%. I'm saying, folks, if the goal should be at a minimum voting at 70% of our capacity. And so when you just do simple math, if there are 100,000 eligible black voters and they're registered, if we vote at 40%, that's 40,000 people voting. We vote at 70%, that's 70,000. It's elections all across the country where 30,000 votes changes the entire election.
Oh, without question. And I want people to think about what's really critical too that we don't talk a lot about is local elections.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to be grabbing up every local election, particularly in communities where we have sizable numbers for mayors,
where we are
council.
55, 60,
oh,
65% of the vote.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We need to be focusing on that. We don't need to just get caught up around the hype around presidential elections.
Right.
That it's in these lower elections. In many circumstances, what's coming down the pipeline, our first line of defense is going to be able to have folks who are in position locally to protect us and to be able to connect us with resources. So it's really important. I need folks to understand this ain't about participation. Part of it I also think is our fault. Part of it has been our fault of really focusing on to participate. You need to participate because folks died for you, and all of that is true. But this is really about power.
Right.
And we have to recognize this is about power. When folks coming for you, you got to use every single tool available to you to push back and to move forward to get power.
We talk about 26, but the reality is what I keep saying, listen, you got a mayoral election in New Orleans.
That's right.
You've got a gubernatorial election in New Jersey.
Right.
Congressman Mike and Cheryl, you need to get off your ass and do more talk to black people. You got a gubernatorial, but also a legislative election in Virginia.
That's right.
If Democrats win the Virginia House, in beating MAGA black Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears, who is down with Trump 100%, if they win, if they maintain the House, then Don Scott is still Speaker of the House. If they control the Senate, Louise Lucas, she controls the money. So
That's
you
right.
literally are, and what that then happens is they now, because they've already passed it this year, they now can pass it again to restore voting rights for all folks formerly incarcerated by putting on a ballot that no longer requires the governor signing each one. So you can have a number of people in Virginia get their right to vote back if Democrats win the House, Senate, and Governor's Mansion.
That's right. This ain't time for people coming up with half ideas who have not put boots on the ground, who have not done the work, who have not organized communities, because I know the difference. I've gone in a courtroom where a DA that was put in by the people was very different than the outcome of a DA that was not responsive.
Well, and in Virginia, you got a black guy, Jay Jones, running for Attorney General against a crazy deranged MAGA. So now that's the chief law enforcement officer of Virginia will be a brother. See, so it's like, folks, understand, it is chess, but you would say, hold up, Virginia, you would have a black guy, the Attorney General.
Come on.
A black guy, the Speaker of the House.
Right.
A black woman controlling all the money in the Senate. Oh, what the hell? So that's not a DNR thing. But the reality is they are Democrats, but that's black power controlling positions.
Absolutely. And controlling resources and protecting us. The other pieces we got to really realize, do we not see that there is an agenda to cut us off from resources? Do we not see how vulnerable we are right now?
The Republicans ran out the black guy who was the superintendent of the Virginia Military Institute. Then Trump has been going after the black guy who's the president of George Mason, and he's been resisting. Hell no, I'm not resigning, and I'm not apologizing. So that's the stuff that people need to understand what's going on.
They need to understand what's going on. This is a moment that you cannot leave any power on the table. This is a moment we got to be organizing. We need to connect ourselves. Folks need to be registering to vote. I don't care what your position on it. At this moment, you need to recognize that we are in a fight, that we've got to stop the ascension of what we're seeing as the consolidation of power. And the way you stop that, you have to slow that down by disrupting. And voting is a vehicle to also disrupt when folks are actually trying to take and consolidate all the power.
It's also really, and I just been trying to get our folk to just to really fully embrace this, that when you say, it is a top-down massive attack on everything black.
Everything black.
So for the people who get so caught up in, oh man, y'all trying to be Democratic shields, this is very simple. They want to get rid of the federal DBA program, $37 billion program. Last year, black businesses got $10 billion a record, even though it was less than 2%, it's still a record. They want to get rid of the program.
Right.
They want to they're attacking, they are literally using the power of the federal government to tell private companies, oh, I'm not going to approve your acquisition unless you get rid of DEI. They did it with Paramount.
That's right.
They did it with multiple companies. That's Brendan Carr to FCC.
That's right.
They're using the power of the SEC, the Federal Trade Commission, the Supreme Court just affirmed Trump being able to fire the Federal Trade Commission member. And so people have to recognize that they're trying to fire the black woman on the Federal Reserve, Lisa Cook. All these things are happening.
Who's not even the chair. The
right.
irony around it is she's not even the chair. So why, out of all the governors you have, we have to realize that there is a strong message to stop black building. There is a strong message to actually punish anything and strip away anything that actually helps black folks advance or get access to resources. And so if that's going to be the case, our response can't just be sitting at home.
Right.
Because if we're sitting at home, that means we're giving them permission. We're saying, oh, it's okay, I don't care about that. Part of the voter suppression and what we're seeing right now is not because we weren't participating. It is a response to black folks actually moving forward and gaining some policy wins. So we got to really think about this moment right now. This moment is not the setback. This got to be the setup moment. This is the moment that we got to come out strong.
Yep. Last point here. This generation, and this is, I think, where the rubber meets the road. This generation has never had to encounter what I am calling Jim Crow 2.0.
Right.
We had to deal with stuff. We had to deal with Reagan and we had to deal with stuff. No. I would say there has been nothing. No. There's been nothing. And even if you go back 60s, if you think White House, you didn't have this level of attack from LBJ Kennedy.
Right.
You go to 56, you didn't have this attack really from Eisenhower. No. He was indifferent. Then you go Truman, FDR. This literally.
We've not seen this.
We have not seen this. But this literally is the most direct assault and anti-black presidential administration since that violent racist Woodrow Wilson.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's why I need people to understand that there are no games here.
Right.
This is an all-out assault on everything black.
Everything black. And you think in terms of resources, when we're thinking about how the middle class was built, when we think about black folks moving forward, we just think we're going to sit back and it's just going to fade out. It will not.
First of all, if you attack the federal government and the jobs, you are attacking the black middle class, which means you're attacking black housing. Right. Then you attack black giving.
Yes.
Then what they're now doing by attacking with the companies, they're now freezing the resources that are going to nonprofits. That are going to.
That's right.
I mean, see, folks don't even understand how this thing is, how it is impacting everything downstream.
That's right. There is an anti-black agenda. Do not fool yourself. There's the evidence. It's not even like behind closed doors.
Right.
It's in our face.
Oh yeah. Oh, they real public. I mean, last week, Senator Eric Schmidt of Missouri, Republican, gave one of the most racist speech.
People got to look at it.
He literally, we did it. We showed it 3 times last week. He literally said, "Our ancestors did. It was for them and us.
Right.
Nobody else." He was saying this thing was for white people.
You know, the irony around that is who built this country, and also the irony around, so you believe that black folk, that we are existing in this country for the pleasure of just serving you? Like, we've got to wake up and recognize that even God gave a duck enough sense to take care of his ducklings. We've got to protect our communities at all costs. Even if you don't even believe in, okay, you're not excited about voting, I don't need you to be excited. I need you to be focused on, I'm going to do what it takes to build power and to protect my community. And I don't think that that's the only way. Yes, we've got economic power, we got all of, but we cannot fool ourselves to think that voting does not matter when the people who are being put in position are making policies that are impacting our families every single day. Like, we've got to be sophisticated enough to really recognize that I've got to stop you at all costs, and this is critical in this moment.
That's it. LaTosha Brown, co-founder, Black Voters Matter. We appreciate it. Last thing, y'all, and I keep saying this here. We also have to fund our institutions.
We do.
Y'all heard me say, listen, if you want to give a campaign, that's fine. I would rather you give money to Black Voters Matter because you know the money is going on the ground. I'm not trying to fight these and deal with these white consultants who don't want to invest money on the ground, who don't want to do black-owned media, who want us to be sharecroppers, and that is get out there and vote or volunteer for free. But when we fund our institutions, if we literally are funding Black Voters Matter, then we can run our own black tested commercials.
That's right.
Using black posters, using black strategists, and actually employing black people out there on the ground. These other cats want us to volunteer. So we also have to understand why funding our own always
gives
comes
us freedom.
But also it all comes back to our community.
It comes back to us.
Because it's actually being spent on black people.
Absolutely. And I want to say this to you too, because I am a member of Black Star. I do my monthly contributions. People who are listening, like right now, you should, whether it's $5, whether it's $50, whether it's $500, you see what's happening on national media right now. On national media, they are taking black faces off. Last night I watched, and every single story that CBS did, it took black men and made it show. It showed like the most egregious actions of black men. I was like, oh, they started that again. We saw that in the 80s. So
because MAGA folks have not bought CBS.
Because they bought CBS. You should have seen it, like story after story after story. And so it's really important for us to realize that this is a strategic move. This is part of the strategy. We need black independent news platforms so we can bring information to you, that those of us that are really resisting, that we are organizing, that you know what we're doing, and you've provided that for us. So I do want to ask people that, yes, support Black Voters Matter, but we need you, brother. We need this platform. And it doesn't take that much.
Right.
We got the money out there. I don't understand why we can't just drop $5 million real quick. Right. Collectively, we can do that.
And what people understand is literally that it's going to blow you up, because I sent Rashad Robinson a plan today. If we got $5 million, that would mean an expansion of at least 40 journalists.
Yeah,
that means that we would literally have the largest black journalist newsroom in America.
And we need it. I need people to understand that we need it, because what you hear becomes real for most folks. We saw what they did to Joy Reid. We saw what they did with Don Lemon. We saw what they did to we saw what they've done to all of our journalists like you, who got the courage to tell the truth. And you have put your sweat into this space and have provided this platform for us. I can't tell you how grateful I am, but I do need people. We got to step up, y'all. This ain't even that moment that we can say, oh, if what I feel like. This is the moment that we've got to put our money where our mouth is. If we can go give these white folks that don't give a darn about us, right, money for a purse or whatever it is that we want. I like stuff like the next person. We can take some money and invest in platforms so that there's not a blackout in the information that we get.
That's it. Absolutely. Yeah. Kathy Hughes said, information is power.
Information is power.
So is voting.
Amen.
LaTosha, we appreciate it.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.